They told you it was just a pump, a mechanical muscle, a biological valve designed to push red fluid through your veins until the day it wears out. In school, you memorized the chambers, the valves, and the arteries. You were taught that the brain is the CEO, the commander, the seat of consciousness, and the heart is merely the engine room, a servant to the neural network in your skull. But consider this. Long before you had a brain, before you had a spine, and before you had a face, you had a heart. In the human embryo, the heart begins to beat around 22 days after conception. The brain? It does not fully develop or show significant electrical activity until much later. If the brain is the creator of consciousness, how does the engine start running before the driver has even arrived? What if the medical textbooks are not just incomplete, but intentionally misleading? What if the heart is not a pump at all, but a vortex, a complex rhythmic oscillator designed to interact with fields of energy that your eyes cannot see, but your soul can feel? The ancient Egyptians knew this. When they mummified their pharaohs, they extracted the brain through the nose and discarded it as trash, useless gray matter. But the heart? The heart was left inside the chest, carefully preserved. They believed it was the Ib, the seat of intelligence, emotion, and memory. They knew that when you die, your life is not weighed against the cleverness of your thoughts, but against the lightness of your heart. Today, we're going to unlock the physics behind that ancient belief. We're going to explore why Itzhak Bentov, the legendary scientist and mystic, believed the heart was the key to escaping the linear trap of time. We're going to decode the Torus Field, the forbidden geometry that proves you are not just a biological machine, but a localized point of infinite energy. This is not poetry. This is physics, and it changes everything. Now, imagine a shape. Not a square, not a pyramid, but a donut. In geometry, this is called a torus. It is a self-sustaining energy system. Energy flows in through the bottom, spirals up through the center, radiates out from the top, and wraps back around to the bottom again. It is a continuous, dynamic loop of creation and renewal. Look at nature. Slice an apple in half. You see the cross-section of a torus. Look at a hurricane from space. It is a torus. Look at the magnetic field of the Earth protecting us from solar radiation. It is a giant protective torus. Even the structure of the Milky Way galaxy follows this primal pattern. Why would you be any different? You are not separate from the universe. You are a fractal of it. The torus is the fundamental blueprint of existence. It is the only geometry that can sustain itself infinitely without an external power source. And at the absolute center of your personal toroidal field, the singularity point where the energy flips inside out, sits your heart. This is why the feeling of love or extreme gratitude feels expansive. It is literally the physical expansion of your toroidal field. And conversely, fear is the contraction, the collapse of this field. When you say you are heartbroken, you are describing a literal disruption in the flow of this vital geometry. But here's where it gets dangerous for the control system. If you understand that you are a self-generating field of energy, you realize you do not need to draw power from outside, from validation, from consumerism, from fear-mongering news. You become a free agent, a sovereign system, and that is exactly what they do not want you to know. Let's talk numbers, because the skeptics love numbers. The Institute of HeartMath, a research organization that has spent decades bridging science and spirit, discovered something that shattered the conventional medical model. They measured the electromagnetic fields produced by the body. The result? The electrical field of the heart is up to 60 times greater in amplitude than the electrical activity of the brain.
But that's just electricity. The real secret lies in magnetism. The magnetic field produced by the human heart is more than 5,000 times greater in strength than the field generated by the brain. Read that again. 5,000 times. Stop and let that sink in. We live in a magnetic universe. If your body is a broadcasting station, your brain is a cheap handheld walkie-talkie, but your heart is a massive radio tower capable of beaming signals into space. Why then have we been trained to live entirely in our heads? Why are we obsessed with mindset and logic while ignoring the most powerful weapon in our arsenal? It is a strategic distraction. By keeping you trapped in the brain, in the loops of overthinking, anxiety, and analysis paralysis, the Matrix keeps you using your weakest instrument. They keep you disconnected from the big field. But there is a physical wire that connects these two centers, a wire they rarely discuss in this context. It is called the vagus nerve. This wandering nerve is the superhighway of the body. But here is the secret. 80% of the information flowing through the vagus nerve travels from the heart to the brain, not the other way around. Your heart is constantly sending proprietary neural signals to your brain, signals that affect your perception, your emotional processing, and your higher cognitive faculties. The heart is the general, the brain is just the lieutenant who executes the orders. When you feel a gut feeling or a heart impulse, that is not a metaphor. That is the 5,000 times stronger magnetic intelligence overriding the limited logic of the neural cortex. When you ignore this signal, when you force yourself to act against your heart because it's not logical, you are literally fighting your own biology. You are creating a dissonance, a static noise that jams your own broadcast, and a jammed signal cannot receive the truth.
Now we must bridge the gap between biology and the forbidden physics of Itzhak Bentov. In his seminal work, Bentov described the universe not as solid matter, but as a vibrating field of consciousness. He proposed a radical idea that our reality functions like a wild pendulum. Picture a pendulum swinging. It moves fast at the bottom, slows down as it rises, and for a microscopic fraction of a second at the very top of its arc, it stops. Velocity becomes zero. In that tiny moment of stillness, the pendulum effectively exits our dimension of time and space. It enters the absolute, the field of infinite potential, or what physics might call the zero-point field. Bentov suggested that our consciousness flickers in and out of this reality millions of times a second, like a strobe light. We just don't notice the gaps. But here is the secret he wanted us to find. The heart is the master pendulum of the body. Every beat of your heart is a cycle of expansion and contraction, systole and diastole. Between every beat, there is a moment of rest, a silence, a stillness. If you think this is just metaphysical speculation, let us look at the hard data. The Institute of HeartMath conducted an experiment that should have been on the front page of every newspaper in the world. It is called the electrophysiological evidence of intuition. Here is the setup. Participants were sat in front of a computer screen. They were hooked up to EEG, brainwave, and ECG, heart rhythm monitors. The computer would wait a few seconds and then randomly display an image. Some images were calm, a landscape, a flower. Others were emotionally triggering, a car crash, a snake, a violent scene. The computer's choice was completely random. No one could predict it. But the data showed something impossible. The participants' hearts reacted before the image appeared. Specifically, about 4 to 5 seconds before the computer even selected the image, the heart's rhythm would change. If a violent image was coming, the heart would decelerate and brace for impact. If a calm image was coming,
the heart would relax. Crucially, the heart reacted before the brain. The signal traveled from the heart up the vagus nerve and hit the brain only after the heart had already seen the future. What does this mean? It means your heart is not bound by linear time. The magnetic field of the torus extends outside of your body and arguably outside of the now. It acts as a quantum antenna, picking up information from the field before it manifests in physical reality. You have a built-in precognition device. You have a time machine in your chest, but you have been taught to ignore it. You call it anxiety or just a feeling, and you push it away to get back to your logical thinking. In doing so, you are silencing the only part of you that knows the truth before it happens. This brings us to the dark side of the equation. If the heart is this powerful, a biological Stargate, a precognition engine, a 5,000 times magnetic amplifier, then why is the world the way it is? Why do most people feel powerless, drained, and disconnected? Because the system is designed to jam the signal. We live in an incoherent society. In physics, coherence means waves that are in phase, amplifying each other like a laser. Incoherence is when waves are out of phase, canceling each other out like a chaotic light bulb. Fear, stress, anxiety, and anger create jagged, incoherent heart rhythms. When you are stressed about your bills or terrified by the news or fighting in the comments section, your heart rhythm becomes chaotic. This chaos physically collapses the torus field. Your magnetic protection shrinks. Your connection to the 0 point is severed. You become, in matrix terms, a battery with a leak. This is not an accident. The 24-hour news cycle, the constant dopamine hits from social media, the financial pressure, the food that inflames your body. It is all a frequency fence. It is designed to keep you in a state of chronic, low-grade survival mode. When you are in survival mode, the energy is diverted from the heart to the lower brain stems. The portal closes. You lose your intuition. You lose your connection to the field. You become just a smart animal reacting to stimuli, easy to predict, easy to control. They don't need to put you in a prison cell if they can keep your heart in a state of incoherence. You imprison yourself within your own chaotic frequency. So, how do we break the frequency fence? How do we turn the key in the ignition of this biological Stargate? The answer lies in a state called heart coherence. This is not just relaxation. It is a highly efficient physiological state where your nervous system, immune system, and hormonal system synchronize with the rhythmic pulse of your heart. When you achieve coherence, the jagged, chaotic wave of your heart rhythm transforms into a smooth, orderly sine wave. This sine wave acts as a carrier wave, entraining your brain into a higher frequency. It is the physical mechanism of ascending, and you can do it right now without any expensive equipment. Here's the protocol. First, shift your focus from your head to the area of your heart. Place your hand on your chest if it helps. This simple act of attention directs energy flow. Wherever your attention goes, energy flows. You are physically moving your consciousness from the brain down into the oscillator. Next, regulate your breath. Slow it down. Aim for 5 seconds in and 5 seconds out. This specific rhythm, 10 seconds per cycle, creates a resonant frequency of 0.1 hertz. This is the resonant frequency of the communication channel between the heart and the brain. You are tuning the radio to the clear channel. But the final step is the most critical. You must feel. You cannot trick the universe with thoughts. You must speak the language of the heart, which is emotion. Summon a genuine feeling of appreciation, care, or gratitude. It could be for a pet, a sunset, or just the fact that you are breathing. This emotional charge is the electricity that powers the field. When you combine the focused attention, the rhythmic breath, and the elevated emotion, you create a standing wave in your Torus field. You are no longer just a biological survivor, you are a coherent broadcaster. You are broadcasting a signal of order into a world of chaos.
Itzhak Bentov spent his life mapping the invisible mechanics of consciousness. He died knowing that the universe is not out there, it is projected from within. Thoth in the Emerald Tablets warned us that the gateway to the kingdom is hidden inside the hearts of men, yet we seek it in the stars. We have been looking for the God particle in atom smashers. We have been looking for extraterrestrial contact with radio telescopes. But the most advanced technology in the universe has been beating in your chest since before you were born. The heart is your personal zero-point module. It is the needle of the pendulum that can stop time. It is the shield that protects you from the matrix of fear. And most importantly, it is the compass that will guide you home when the external world goes dark. They can censor the internet, they can hide the history, they can manipulate the weather, but they cannot touch the sanctuary within your own heart unless you give them permission. The next time you feel the tightening of fear, remember the physics, remember the oscillator, remember the torus, shift your breath, reclaim your field. The revolution will not be televised, it will be felt, one heartbeat at a time. If this message resonated with your frequency, do not let it stop here. Share this transmission, ignite the field in someone else. And if you are ready to decode the next layer of the illusion, the sound matrix that controls your DNA, click the video appearing on your screen now. The truth is a heartbeat away.